Sandra's Heart Tale Part 2 by Amah's Heart. My dad's behavior wasn't getting any better. My mom stopped asking him what the problem was and tried to adjust to the new situation. Viva comes around. She also has two kids but no husband. Viva's husband was late and she was raising her two children alone. I never knew all this while that my dad wasn't my real dad. He wasn't my real father. When my mom got pregnant for me, it was actually for Palo, her ex-boyfriend, and not for my dad. My dad didn't know and nobody knew about it. But my mom told her best friend Viva that my dad wasn't my real father, but Palo was my father. Viva promised to keep it all a secret. When my dad was acting strange, Viva would comfort my mom. She was like a family friend who comes around often. My mom would cry out her pain to her over my dad's sudden change of behavior. Viva would tell my mom to ignore my dad's attitude. I finished with my secondary school education. I had to proceed to the university to further my studies because my dream had always been to become a doctor. I always knew that after I graduate in the university, I would go for my master's degree program in abroad. After I completed my secondary education, I started making plans to proceed to the university. But shockingly, my father said that he has no money for me to further my studies. I was in shock because we are not poor, neither are we very rich. I'm from a moderate family that could afford for me to study at any institute of my choice. So I was shocked when my father said he had no money for me to go to the university. I have to stay at home for 1 year, waiting till when my father would change his mind for me to continue my studies. My biological father, that's Palo, was later married after my mom broke up with him when she discovered that she was pregnant. Palo knew that the pregnancy was his own and not rightfully my mom's husband. My mother ended things with Palo when she was newly pregnant with me. Palo decided to respect my mom's wish and also because he didn't want my mother to get into any trouble. He played cool and let my mom enjoy her marriage in peace without coming in between. Even though he had wanted my mom for himself and also the pregnancy, but he knew my mom's heart was for my dad and couldn't convince her or force her to stay. He also did not want to be the reason she would have misunderstanding in her marriage. Palo had to let it all go. He later got married and focused on his own family. The two people that knew about the affair and the baby was Palo and Viva. Palo was living in another state with his wife far away from us. After many years of marriage, Palo had no child with his wife. They tried to conceive through different means, but none worked out for them. So with all this issue going on, Palo found a way to contact my mom. He was secretly begging my mom secretly that he wants his child back, which is me. Palo told my mom that he wanted to see me and wouldn't mind flying or driving all the way down to the state that we were residing. But my mom refused. My mom denied him access to me and refused his plea. She told Palo he would be bringing more trouble to her home if he starts with his claims. Palo has to come to reason. He left it and let it go. But he was never aware of what was going on in our home. I was never aware that I was unable to proceed with my studies to the university since my dad claimed he has no money. And the first thing was over after staying home. The first year was over after staying home without going to the university. The second year came, 2 years came of me staying home and still passed by and I was still doing nothing at home. I didn't go to school. I wasn't working. I was just home doing nothing for 2 whole years. I began to get worried. I was always in tears. My mother felt for me, but she could not do anything. She was still wondering why my dad would treat me that way. She always consoled me that everything will be fine. She asked me not to worry, that she would raise some money on her own to sponsor me to school. Her word made me stay positive. But how would my mom raise money when she wasn't really working? She depended on my dad for everything, even for the upkeep of the house. My kid sister was following me directly. She also completed her secondary education. At the end of the second year that I was home, my sister Lucia rounded up with her secondary school education. She was true. And the third year came and no sign of me proceeding with my studies. My kid sister Lucia got an admission into her institution, which was far more expensive than the university I initially wanted to go. My dad paid all her fees and sent her off to school. She paid for Lucia's fees. Lucia did not spend a year at home, and she went to the most expensive university in my state. I was still at home. I remained at home. The act of our dad was so painful to me. I cried. I cried through because I don't know what my offense was and why my supposed dad refused to send me to school, but instead sent Lucia to an expensive institution. I couldn't stay anymore. I was fed up. I was tired. I summoned courage and went to my dad. I asked him to tell me my offense. I've always done everything he says. I obeyed his every order. I was a good girl to the core. I never goes against his rule. So what exactly is my problem and that of mother? Why does he have to hate us so much? I live as a good example for my younger sibling. I never questioned his authorities. What I don't understand was this strong refusal allowing me to go to the university. I've been home for over 3 years, even before Lucia finished her secondary school. He sent Lucia to one of the best high institution, even after complaining of not having money for me to go to school. I told him whatever I did to offend him without knowing, I pleaded for his forgiveness. I could not hold my tears anymore. I cried out in his presence. All he could say was that he is fine with me, that I have done nothing wrong to him. He could not give me any reason at all why I should be staying home and my kid sister is in high institution. He just dismissed me without any hope to hold on to. I could not take any more, but kept wondering why my dad would treat me this way. And my mom, knowing how troubled I was, still did not mention anything to me. And as the years came and go, my dad has never asked anything from my mom. They still do not share same bedroom and he doesn't eat her food. One day I told my mom that I wonder if my dad is actually my biological father because no father would treat his own daughter the way he was treating me. I asked her to tell me what she knows, if she has any clue on why my dad was misbehaving towards her and towards me too. Because I don't understand all that was going on. I was supposed to be rounding up with my degree program, but here I was at home, no hope of furthering my studies. So I insisted with my mother, disturbing her to tell me whatever was going on. My mother kept denying that she knows nothing. The trauma was too much. I cry every morning. At times, she would meet me in the room crying. Sometimes, late in the night, she would hear me sobbing. She could not bear it anymore to see me being punished for a crime I did not commit. She was so worried too and had sleepless nights, but she wasn't sure if my dad changed because he found out about her past. She did not know how to tell me that the man I have always loved and was bearing his name and also called him dad for 25 years was not actually my real father. My mom wondered how my dad would even get to know the truth since she never told anyone. The only person she spoke with over all her secrets was Viva. She told Viva everything and she trusted Viva so much. Viva was beginning to act nicely around my dad whenever she comes around. She would sometimes sit in the living room with him, laughing, talking, and whatever they were watching on the television. My mom decided to ask Viva if she mentioned anything to my dad. Viva assured my mom that she would never do such a thing to her, that she was only being so close and friendly to my dad so that she would find out the reason behind his ill attitude. Even though she had no husband of her own, only her two kids, she would never betray my mother like that, she assured my mom. She said that my dad is a loving and nice to be with, and the reason behind his sudden change is what she doesn't know, and she never mentioned anything at all to him. My mom believed her. So most times, if she comes around, instead of staying with my mom, Viva will stick around with my dad. My mom believed that her dear friend was only acting along just to find out what made my dad change towards her and also towards me. Since Viva has become a family friend, my mom's best friend and my dad was equally okay with her. My mother never suspected anything at all. My mom still praised her as her best friend and the only one trustworthy enough to protect her secret. While Lucia was in school in the university, I remained at home, hoping that one day my dad will have a change of heart and send me to school so that I can achieve my dream of becoming a doctor. But I don't know how possible that is. I really don't know what is going on. I hope that all these secrets will unfold soon.